Let me read to you a passage from the 12th chapter of St. Mark's Gospel, verses 13 to 17. It's the Gospel for Tuesday of the 9th week in Ordinary Time. St. Mark writes, "Later they sent some of the Pharisees and Herodians to Jesus to catch him in his words. They came to him and said, 'Teacher, we know you are a man of integrity. You are not swayed by men, because you pay no attention to who they are, but you teach the way of God in accordance with the truth. Is it right to pay taxes to Caesar or not? Should we pay or shouldn't we?' But Jesus knew their hypocrisy. 'Why are you trying to trap me?' he asked. 'Bring me a denarius and let me look at it.' They brought the coin, and he asked them, 'Whose portrait is this, and whose inscription?' 'Caesar's,' they replied. Then Jesus said to them, 'Give to Caesar what is Caesar's, and to God what is God's.' And they were amazed at him." That's from Mark chapter 12, verses 13 to 17. It speaks of Christ and Caesar. You know, St. John the Baptist made a point of appearing before Herod Antipas, the ruler of Galilee and Perea, to confront him about his immoral life. Specifically, he condemned Herod's divorce of his first wife, and who was the daughter of King Atas, and his remarriage with Herodias, who had formerly been married to his brother Herod Philip I. So the Baptist tried to reclaim the ruler to subject himself to God and his law. Interestingly, we see nothing of this in the ministry of our Lord. His public ministry is much more extensive than was that of the Baptist, both in geographical scope and in range of teaching and deeds. But he never approached rulers to bring about their reform. When, during the Passion, Jesus was sent by Pilate to the court of this same Herod Antipas, he refused to speak with him. Antipas plied our Lord with questions. He wanted to see a miracle. Christ answered him not a word. Our Lord did not deal in any special way with the civil authorities. He certainly made no attempt to bring before the Roman authorities, such as Pilate, his message of the kingdom, with which he was filling Galilee and Judea. When finally, in the presence of Pilate, he spoke merely of his mission being to bear witness to the truth. But of his being himself the truth, he said nothing. Christ did not formally proclaim the gospel to him. "What is truth?" Pilate asked, and with that question their conversation ended. Christ dealt courteously with civil authorities when they met. He readily agreed to go to the house of the centurion who had asked that he come and heal his servant. The episode finished with Christ praising most highly the faith of that centurion. But in general, Christ confined himself to the lost sheep of the house of Israel and kept somewhat aloof from civil authorities. There were various currents of anti-Roman hostility, and it was a contested point whether the Roman tax ought be paid. Many despised those who obtained jobs from the Romans, such as the tax collectors. And so it is that in our Gospel today, from Mark chapter 12, verses 13 to 17, our Lord is presented with a tough question. The question was, should the people pay taxes to the Romans or not? By paying, they were supporting the pagan and somewhat oppressive Romans. Should they be doing this? What was this doing for the exaltation of the true God, the God of the Hebrews? The question was one of general principle. If our Lord had been asked whether this or that particular tax ought be paid, I suspect he would have declined to answer. On one occasion, a man from the crowd asked our Lord to intervene in his case. His brother had appropriated the estate, and he was getting nothing as a result. Our Lord said to him, "Who appointed me arbitrator in matters such as this?" And went on to speak about the dangers of greed. In our case today, our Lord is asked the general issue of whether it is allowable to pay taxes to Caesar. His questioners, of course, simply wanted to trap him into uttering words that would create a dangerous political situation for him. But our Lord was more than equal to their words. Immediately he answered the question and threw light on the responsibilities of civil rulers. Render the things that belong to Caesar, and to God the things that are God's. He did not pronounce on the ultimate legality of Roman control of the Hebrew nation, nor of any of the nations falling under its authority. He simply said that inasmuch as Caesar has the governance of the Hebrews, he has a right to levy the funds which are needed to fulfill that temporal responsibility. This was as far as he would go during his public ministry. But on rising from the dead, the situation had changed. He told his disciples that all authority in heaven and on earth had been given to him. They were therefore to go to all the nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. With that, the situation was now very different. Here we had a universal king, the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, and a kingdom established on this earth which was not a temporal kingdom. Moreover, his disciples were to go to the whole world and make disciples of all the nations. Our Lord said, the whole world and all the nations. This included emperors. It included the Roman Empire. All, high and low, were to become disciples. As a matter of fact, many kings have become his disciples. There is Edward the Confessor in England, King Louis of France, Henry of Germany, saints, Christian saints. The whole world is called to become Christ's disciples and to welcome Jesus Christ into their hearts and minds. The church has received the mission, and the church means each one of us. Each one of us united to the church. The church has received the mission to help evangelize the world. Each lay person ought to exploit their daily situation in the world to advance the knowledge and love of Jesus Christ from the highest to the lowest. The lay person has a magnificent mission to bring Jesus Christ to the heart of the world and to every aspect of its action, right up to the ruler, indeed the Caesar and his equivalent. Let us resolve to do this for love of Jesus Christ.